All right, so I am Daniel Colling. I worked with Annual Giving this summer. I'm from St. Clair Shores, Michigan. I graduated in May from James Madison College with a degree in Social Relations and Policy. And I start at United Way on Monday for my new job. Thank you. Thank you. So in working with Annual Giving this summer, and many of you, if you got the emails from me, which you probably got multiple, for my Stewardship Survey that I conducted this summer, sort of to help Annual Giving decide where there is room to supplement the practices of the colleges and units on campus. So let me first preface this by saying that the colleges weren't in competition with each other. I had many people ask, like, how did we do? Did we win? It wasn't that sort of project. Again, just wanted to see where Annual Giving can help, not see where, because you have a lot of donors, have a lot of people who you need to steward, and it's not easy to give them 100% every time. So my Stewardship Project, really the scope of it, like I said, was just to gather the data on the stewardship practices of the colleges and units, identify where gaps may exist, especially in the lower levels of giving, and then see where Annual Giving has an opportunity to supplement those levels, as I said before. So this is not going to be new for anybody who asks for major gifts. Of course, anytime you get a gift, you're going to want to provide a prompt, meaningful thank you, something that's either a thank you letter or, of course, a personal call is a trick. But you want to make sure that they know that their gift is assigned to the proper allocation, that their gift is actually going to do what they wanted it to. And in a perfect world, you'd be able to update them on how the gift was used. And again, for major gifts, this basically happens every time. But when you're talking about lower levels, people who give basically less than $1,000, it's not as easy to get to all those people and make them feel appreciated and have them know that their gift is doing what they intended to. And you want to have that happen before you solicit them again, and definitely before they decide to make another gift on their own. So some research that I found, and this is from Penelope Burke, who some of you may be familiar with. I wasn't before I did this. But she has a report that she puts out called Donor-Centered Fundraising. And this one's from 2014. But 93% of donors in her survey indicated they would probably or definitely give again if provided a prompt and personal thank you and a meaningful report on that gift's impact. And that's just kind of an obvious figure, but it's still staggering because it's so large. But 64% of them would probably give more, and 74% may even continue to give indefinitely if those stewardship practices continue. So it's really important. And when it happens for major gifts, that's great, but we want to be able to look at those lower levels and see how can we cultivate those gifts and get those people to move up through the pyramid. So some best practices that I did find from the colleges and units on campus. If you responded and you see yours up here, then you know who you are. But personalized letters from the dean department chair, always great, personal, shows how meaningful that gift is to them. Thank you calls conducted by a student assistant. That was actually pretty unique, to actually have a student assistant that goes through and makes calls for gifts below $500. Anytime you can have a personal student touch to say, you know, thank you for this gift, this is going to benefit me from that college, it's going to be really great for that donor. And then, interestingly, only one college indicated that they do an event as part of their stewardship plan. When I know many colleges do events, they have homecoming events and others, only one indicated that they actually use it for stewardship. So have a donor recognition event to say thank you when people come back to college after giving. And then mailing a college annual report, that definitely shows a meaningful impact. You can see how your gift helped in sort of a broad sense towards the overall goals of the college, but of course we want to make it more specific if of course we can and have the resources. So there is opportunity for more, especially like I said at the lower levels. And this is from the annual giving appeals this last fiscal year, but on average around 62% of the gifts that come in are less than $100. So that's a huge pool of people that we would love to be able to move up through that pyramid and start giving year after year and giving more. So many colleges and units do lack a comprehensive plan to address that level. And again, that's because they have a lot of donors, their priorities, those major gifts, and that's completely understandable. So for annual giving, we want to see how we can supplement those practices and see how we can help. And one of the things is that, you know, at Greenline, the telemarketing channel, they conduct thank you calls. But what it is that a student will come in a day out of the week, and they'll manually dial and go down a list and try to contact people. And during the day, they're leaving a lot of voicemails. So they're really not getting that personal one-on-one connection with the donors, and it's not necessarily optimal. So what we can do, and this actually came from me talking to the University of Minnesota as well, is that they actually conduct coordinated thank you campaigns to where one shift actually I think every week from Minnesota, they'll actually just reach out to donors and say thank you. And as you'll see, if you haven't had a college meeting yet with annual giving, or if you have, telemarketing is pretty much down across the board. So an efficient use of that channel now would be to repurpose some shifts, even if it is just once or twice a month, to dedicate that towards thanking donors and stewarding them at those lower levels. And of course, annual giving can continue to send out thank you cards that update donors on their status in regards to the new annual giving levels. Since they're fresh, it's a good new thing. If you give $50 or $25, just to say, hey, you're this close to Spartan loyal, keep giving. But in conclusion, there's definitely always room for improvement because you can never thank or recognize donors enough. You can definitely oversaturate them with solicitations, but as far as donor recognition is concerned, they want to feel appreciated. And the more personal, the better. So if it's a dean or a department chair or a handwritten letter from a development officer, it's going to make the most impact. Or, of course, a personal thank you call from a student does the trick as well. But, of course, annual giving should supplement college stewardship with some intentionality towards driving retention and upgrades in the future. But thank you.
Does anybody have any?
Oh, yeah, sorry, questions. My bad. Nope. Yeah.
Well, it's just because I'm not that closely connected to what the Green Line students are doing, when they're doing the thank you calls, is there a parameter around how many times they try to reach a donor or
Yeah.
voicemails to leave? I mean,
They will try twice.
yeah.
I haven't saying once.
Voicemail.
Oh yeah, okay. So if they leave one voicemail, that'll be it. But again, that plays into the fact that you have a couple students maybe at the most coming in
Yeah.
on a weekly basis. It's usually the same people too, because I mean, especially during the year with class, it's hard for students to come in during the day, and they're doing it manually, so they really can't reach that many people. And they're really prioritizing telemarketing pledges at that point too. So if you want to focus on direct mail pledges, email, web, everything in the future, it'd be useful to have the entire room maybe repurposed for that. Anyone else? Yeah. Laura.
What was your favorite thing about this summer?
My favorite thing about the summer was probably coming from the Green Line program and building off of the experience I had there and using it to do things like this, which will benefit them in the future. Because what we've seen is that a lot of people in the telemarketing channel, a lot of Green Line students, don't necessarily see their place so much in university advancement, and being able to come at them and say, well, we want you to focus on stewardship as well, would be something that would get them more, I think, ingrained in that culture and realize like what their place is and how they can help the broad strategy of university advancement as a whole. So that was really cool for me to be able to do.
So not meeting me, that's cool.
That was second, close second.
All right.
Close second. Yeah.
So, did you reach out to all of the constituencies to gather information on their plans, and how many responded? What was the rate of response?
I contacted every single college and fundraising unit on campus, and I got all responses from everybody besides ARCA because Annie James. So I didn't have a point person there, but besides that college, everyone responded.
Great.
Yeah, I was able to expand upon it a little bit, sorry,
Great.
with Central Advancement, Essential Edge, and other units that aren't necessarily usually broken out.
What are you going to be doing for United Way?
I'm going to be a corporate relations associate. So yeah, I'll be doing fundraising and engagement, getting volunteer opportunities for corporations in Detroit.
Great.
And in the Metro area. Thanks, guys.